Good morning. Hope your day is off to a fantastic start. So glad you're finding time to watch 3+U on this beautiful Tuesday. Our show is beginning on a happy note for me because Alan Valenzuela is here from Alliance Physical Therapy. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning.
I am thrilled to have you. So you're going to show us some exercises to do for hip pain. I was asking you earlier if this is beneficial for people who might have arthritis, but you were telling me that that's kind of its own unique animal.
Well, arthritis, it's a really hard pain. Anybody that's had it understands it's difficult to manage. If you're not managing it with medication, the best thing that I always tell anybody who has arthritis is get moving right away and stay moving.
Right.
Because once those joints get lubricated with fluids and get new blood supply in there, any extra fluid that's in there gets moved out of the way. There's less pressure. They feel a lot less pain. But the minute they stop moving, whether it's in your hands, your spine, your legs, that pain comes back. And so it's very difficult pain. You can't just do some treatment and take it away.
Right. So what are you going to show us this morning? You brought a very expensive prop here, Alan.
I did. I didn't stop at the clinic to get me a nice little cushion to kneel on. But what you'll find more funny too is inside this bag is a Alaskan Malamute stuffed animal.
The fun thing about Alan, and I think y'all have appreciated it over the years when he's here, is that he gives you very practical exercises to do, but he also shows you things you can use at your house. Tennis balls are a big friend of his. Socks are beneficial.
Yeah.
Your garbage bag is going to come in handy this morning.
I had this in the back of the car. The animal was something my daughter threw out, and I kept it. I didn't throw it out because it was a gift I gave her.
Oh.
It's sentimental to me, so now I'm going to kneel on it.
Okay, everything comes back full circle.
Okay, so what we're talking about is some stretches for your hip flexor. Okay. And the reason why your hip flexor becomes really important is because if it gets too tight, it can pull your hip out of alignment.
Okay.
And if your hip comes out of alignment, you have extra pain when you're walking, you have decreased mobility when you're just going from sit to stand, you have because the hip becomes out of alignment, it creates unnatural pressure in your lumbar spine, which causes low back pain.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about some simple movements if you can get down on your knee to do here. So we've done some other stuff where you can do sitting in the chair. This one is a half kneel exercise for stretching hip flexors.
Okay.
It'll actually affect your quads, your lateral gluteal muscles, and your adductor muscles in your thighs as well.
Okay, so grab the pillow off of your sofa and do this along with Alan.
Yeah, so no stuffed bags here for you guys. So again, you're going to half kneel. This is called a half kneel dynamic stretch. Okay, and the first one is very simple. So you're half kneeling here, and what you're going to do next is you're going to tuck your bottom in, and you do that by tightening your bottom. Okay, and we're concentrating on this right side, and this is a dynamic movement. Okay, and so all you're going to do is hold your shoulders square, and you're going to slide forward. Now, the more you extend back, the more you'll feel your hip flexor stretch. So it's a slide forward, and it's a slow dynamic movement. It doesn't take a whole lot to get the effect of this movement. I wish you could do this.
I wish I could too.
And if you're like me, which I am really tight in my hips, I can really feel this in my hip flexors. I actually feel it in my IT band, and I can feel it in my low back on the opposite side of what I'm trying to stretch.
So, Alan, is this something that we just begin to deal with as we get older? If you're a runner, does it tend to be more of a problem for you?
This can happen at any age.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter, especially if you are an athlete and you're younger. This is a simple, easy exercise to do. And those of you at home, you'll see when you try this, it seems silly, doesn't seem like you're doing a whole lot, but you'll feel it, and you'll know what I'm talking about, especially if you have pathology, low back pain, hip pain. You'll see how it affects your hips. And so we want to mobilize all that so that you have more freedom of motion and less pain when you're doing normal things like sit to stand and walking.
Okay. Again, it seems like the slowness of that was a key part. There's nothing strenuous in this.
We're doing really slow motion. So now we're going to add a second dynamic to it. So we're tighten the glutes, tucking your hip underneath of you. We're staying somewhat square in this one. You're sliding forward, and now you're going to reach overhead. So it looks like this. So we have a half kneel dynamic hip flexor stretch with a lateral flexion.
And what is that
stretch.
doing?
So you're getting more into that joint and pulling more on the lateral component of your hips,
Okay.
your glutes, and even your quads.
If you're going to do this at home,
Okay.
people were doing this along with you, how often should you do it? Just once a day, twice a day?
So you could do, it depends on your activity level. If you're feeling any discomfort and stuff in your hips, then you could do it as often as you want to. It's not, you can't hurt anything doing this.
Okay.
So again, the rule of thumb is as often as you need it.
Is this something where if you're a person who's going to benefit from this, your hips are essentially tight, those muscles are tightened, and as you do this, it's going to loosen?
That's correct.
So over time, will your mobility become better?
That's right, and that's the whole point here, is to loosen all that connective tissue, that muscular tissue, tendons, ligaments, so that your pelvis sits in a proper alignment, so that the joint moves properly when you're doing normal functional movement.
Okay.
So I got one more.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the last one. So we're back in the same position. Okay, so now what we're going to add is a rotational and lateral flex component. Okay.
Okay.
So we're tucking that bottom in. We're staying square. We're moving forward, and now we're going to rotate and lateral flex. So it looks like this.
Okay.
And you will actually feel that in
All
your
in
ribs,
through?
even ribs, your spine. You're going to feel it everywhere when you're doing that movement.
How much of what you just showed us can also be used as prevention?
All of it.
So you can do this
Absolutely.
even if you're not dealing with any pain?
Yeah, if anybody's doing this in advance, it's definitely preventive medicine.
So, okay, talk to me. We've got about a minute or so left. In terms of coming in to see you, Tennessee remains a direct access state, so people can come into you of their own free will, no referral
Absolutely.
needed, right?
Yeah, and I want to say this while I am on your air. We're a locally based company. This COVID-19 has really hurt us, and we're struggling like other businesses, so you don't need a referral. All you need to do is pick up the phone, call, and make an appointment. If you just want a consult, the consult's free. We take almost 99.9% of all insurances. Get in and get started to your a better life, a better health.
Well, and it's interesting to me, and we do have to wrap it up, but I think a lot of us now are far more aware of our health and the importance of good health than ever before. So this is a chance where if you're hurting, they can help you. If you're not hurting, you can ward off future problems by being the early bird.
Yep.
Okay, we have to wrap it up, but here is where you can find Alan and the great staff at Alliance Physical Therapy. 10 locations around the viewing area to make it easy for you to find them. The website is nopainpt.com. The phone number you see there on your screen, and as Alan mentioned, they are a locally owned business right here in the community. We're back with more in just a minute.
Looks like your thingamajig isn't turning your whatchamacallit. You're gonna need a whole new system replacement.
Oh, call River Tech. That's what I did.
Great service doesn't cost